What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the altar again, and this time we are here with Mason of Melancholia. It is great to be able to talk with you. Thanks for coming on the show today, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me. How are we?
Doing all right, man. Another Monday morning here in New York, but it looks like it's nighttime by you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty cold here as well. I'm assuming it's cold there.
Actually, now we're approaching the summer, so it's pretty warm. I'm probably gonna be able to go out wearing just this today.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, very lucky. It's freezing here, and yeah,
Where are
it
you at right
is.
now?
I'm in Adelaide, South Australia, so it is freezing cold. It's probably yeah. I need new UGG boots. I need fresh socks. It is very cold. Anyway,
Well, I mean, it is your winter there at this time, so
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
I envy you because that's black metal weather right there. So it's my favorite time when it's cold and freezing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's like it gets to winter and then all the black metal bands just appear at the venues now and just like they're like summoned by winter. So I'm sure I'll see a lot out in the next few weeks.
With the weather and the wildlife there, Australia is the one of the most metal places on the planet. You know, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty wild animals out there. Yeah, I mean where we are, especially in South Australia, like I live not too far from the hills, so we get a lot of kangaroos, a lot of snakes, a lot of yeah, the typical what people think about Australia. It's yeah, right on your doorstep at this time, so it's pretty wild.
It's better than cockroaches that we get here in New York City.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
anything better than that.
Yep. But it's so awesome to have you here, dude, because your freaking new album, Hiss Through Rotten Teeth, is absolutely kick ass. And I'm so glad that it's finally out now for the rest of the world to hear it. Was there sort of like a preconceived vision of what this album was supposed to sound like? Or was this like a very like improvisational, experimental process, kind of getting your foot in the door, being that this is the debut?
Yeah, I think Alex had a pretty clear idea of what he wanted to do with it. Like he had a very particular style that he was going for, and I guess with like how he sort of developed his playing and sounds over the years, I think he saw what he wanted with it. So yeah, I think there was purpose around like what he was the vision was for it. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of the vision, what was that sort of vision? Was it basically on style? Was it also on concept? What was the sort of vision behind it?
Yeah, I think it had to be there had to be a concept and a narrative to it just to really draw you into the whole thing. I think a lot of heavy bands and music at times I can find just like it's sort of rinse and repeat sort of stuff, and the themes and the content can be just I don't know, like a little bit not all there. So I think story driven stuff's kind of cool. So I think that's what Alex has really achieved with it. But I think as well, Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And how did that story sort of guide your hand with regards to how you laid down the drums?
I didn't lay down the drums on this record, so I've been in the band for about 8 months now. So I know that the boys had a bunch of different people initially go through the drum process, so it didn't really have much effect on me directly. But yeah, I guess the drumming on the record has got a fair bit of diversity with like grooves and atmosphere. You play it a bit more open and broody to fit the sort of themes of what it is, and the blast beats of the blast beats, and so forth.
Yeah. Joining up with the band, were you like looking at the album being like, this is how I have to play, or were you kind of given a full range to bring a bit of your own mix into Melancholia?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of both. So I like heard the album enough to understand the bits and pieces of like what here's the skeleton of the song and here's like exactly how this part's played, but then sort of open it up and be able to put your own fills and little flair on this like bits and pieces there. So it was definitely I've got a bit more free reign of like what I want to be able to do with it as well, which is cool.
Yeah. And are you, I mean, I know I'm asking this very prematurely, being that this album is still brand new and just came out, but now that you're with the band, is there any ideas being laid down for what you could bring into Melancholia in the future?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we've definitely got some stuff that we've been working on. And I think just like being able to dynamically have more different styles of drumming and take bits and pieces from more groove-based stuff or fusion stuff or whatever it is to, build up a more atmospheric section instead of like necessarily having it be balls to the wall, just blast beats and double kick the whole time. So I think eventually when we get to working on the new stuff closer, there'll be a lot more different ideas going on as well. So it should be cool.
Because I've noticed that with Melancholia's music, it is fairly experimental with, when you open up with horror ethereal and then, you end with a cold static eulogy. Like, it has like such a eclectic sound to it. It's fair to say that Melancholia isn't really defined by one single style, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think it has something different about it, and I think that really comes down to how the songs are written and, definitely the style the crossover of different sort of subgenres in there and bits and pieces of stuff. I don't think it's just as straightforward as like it's just like a blackened deathcore band or something. I think it's, just you can hear the different elements, I think, song to song where they kind of have their own thing to it.
Yeah, I think it does have that sort of vibe that what we are seeing with the rise of bands like Lorna Shore, and Shadow of Intent in America, bands like Mental Cruelty in Europe, in a way. And almost, how has that scene been affecting Australia as well? Because I've always said that Australia right now is the sort of metalcore capital of the world, with Parkway Drive and Heart's Wake, Polaris, Make Them Suffer, you name it. So is it fair to say that like that sort of, I don't want to say trend because that sounds like a derogatory term, but like that sort of movement is catching on in Australia now too?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think Australia has always gone through different stages of when like more deathcore stuff has been sort of hot and like it's been the thing. I think it's coming into something new now though. Like I do think we're starting to get like a wave slowly progressing of like newer bands coming through, and I think we're right, amongst all of that as well. So it's interesting, yeah. I think there's a lot of cool stuff will be coming out of here within the next couple of years that will be very uniquely its own thing. I think that's the thing with Australian deathcore. I think it's always had its sort of own personality to it, where, I think it just has its own place. It has its own thing to it, really. So it's cool to be, starting that sort of, I guess, the next wave of that here in Australia.
Yeah, it seems like it's also like a pretty diverse scene too, because I just mentioned all the metalcore bands, but there's also a lot of progressive metal bands as well, and there's all like with the Caligula's Horse and Neil Blivascaris and Voyager and whatnot, and kudos to Voyager for killing it at Eurovision this year as well. Yeah, but like it almost seems like it's not defined by one specific scene unless it's AC/DC.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think there is so many strong pockets, like hardcore's popping off here again. It's like kind of had a really big, once again, it just goes in waves of the styles and the trends going on. But I think we're not defined by one thing. We've got such good metalcore, hardcore, deathcore, like whatever the scenes are. I think it's just this big melting, like boiling pot of stuff going on. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be amongst it all, really.
Yeah. Being that Melancholia's music has such a eclectic and diverse sound, do you think that could allow you guys to play with multiple scenes as well?
Yeah, I think so. Like, we're just so about doing our thing and just not limiting ourselves. We just want to play stuff that's sick and stuff that we think's cool, really. So I think it could really open up some opportunities to do some really interesting stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the plans for the future?
So at the moment, it's we're going on tour in July with To The Grave, so that should be cool. So we'll do a run of shows with them. We're just stuck into, I guess, writing bits and pieces, and then just trying to map out what's next, like, what cities to get to, who's, like what tours we can start trying to get on, and just building our way through to start getting in front of as many people as possible.
Yeah, I mean, with Australia too, it seems like you always have to go around the perimeter of the country too, right? Isn't that how the touring there works?
Yeah, it's a complete nightmare. Yeah, so I live 9 hours away from Alex and Bill. They live in Melbourne, and then Josh lives 16 hours from me. So we're all in different cities completely. So touring in Australia, it's like realistically, you go Adelaide to Melbourne, Sydney to Brisbane. Like it's there's always like a 10 to 12 hour drive there, you know. So it's a bit of a nightmare of a country to tour in. But yeah, we'll get to every city at some point, you know.
I've been suggesting this to every Australian metal band. When are you guys going to play on the Ayers Rock?
Yeah, that would be really cool. Who knows? They have a festival that happens out sort of in the centre of Australia, out in the desert, and it's kind of got that similar vibe to it. It's just big open space. There's a big stage, but playing on Ayers Rock would be cool. I think there's been like such a small number of artists who have been able to do that. I do think Nick Cave might have played at Ayers Rock last year, which would have been pretty insane to see. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll put it on the bucket list.
Yeah. Oh, and there's also, I heard, that underground city in Australia.
Underground City. Underground City. I wonder if that's here in Adelaide. We have like in Adelaide.
I'm Googling it right now. I'm Googling it right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like under our actual mall in the city there was like another thing built there completely, and there was like an abandoned cinema and all this stuff, but I don't know, that it might be a completely different thing.
Oh, it's an underground mining town.
Oh, okay, that might be up in Roxby, or maybe that's over in Western Australia as well. Yeah, okay, that makes way more sense than what I was saying.
Yeah. Cooper Petty, it's called.
Yeah.
Well, you guys play so fucking hard down there that you make everything just cave in.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. It's cool.
Yep. So before we go, I want to thank you for your time today, and thank you for the rundown on Melancholia and what else we could be expecting for the future. Is there just anything else you'd like to promote, like maybe a U.S. tour down the line one day, or what else we could be expecting?
No, I'm all good, but I appreciate the time. Thank everyone who's had a listen to the record so far and picked up a CD or a shirt, and we'll get to as many cities as we can as soon as possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mason. Everybody, we are here with Melancholia. Be sure to check out Hiss Through Rotten Teeth. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.
Peace. See you, brother.